Hey everybody, what's going on? Happy New Year to everyone. I just wanted to say that the World Juniors were a big part of the last week for the Montreal Canadiens and their prospects. Unlike what we actually saw from the Habs and their NHL team, they've been playing some dismal hockey of late, specifically on defense and in goal. And that is just not an area we are looking to dive into at the moment. So let's focus on some positivity and let's talk about what went down for the Habs prospects at the World Junior Championship. Let's start with this. Team Canada captured the gold medal thanks to a Joshua Waugh assist on the golden goal who set up Dylan Gunther, an Arizona Coyotes prospect. It was a beautiful setup in 3-on-3 overtime. We'll get into that another time, but I mean, deciding a gold medal in 3-on-3 is just not something they should be doing in a tournament of this magnitude. It should be 5-on-5 overtime. There's nowhere else for these kids to go after these games. It's not like they have to play the next day. So I really do believe they need to at least be 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 when deciding these medals in this tournament. But you just have to talk about Waugh and his impact for Team Canada in this event. He had 11 points over that stretch of games. And it's just so impressive what he's been able to continue to do as he grows his game. There are question marks about his overall skating ability, but those have been kind of erased. And you know that the Montreal Canadiens development staff are going to be heavily working with him on his skating, and that's a big area that he needs to improve on, but we've already been seeing improvements over the last year. It's not necessarily night and day, but there's definitely been big strides in that part of his development, no pun intended. So I think Waugh is definitely someone worth keeping an eye on in the QMJHL for the rest of the season, and hopefully he can get some time with the Laval Rocket to end the year as well. But right now, Waugh is just someone that Montreal Canadiens fans need to be a little bit higher on than they actually are. This is a player that does a lot of things well physically around the net. He's just a very smart player with a very high hockey IQ. And if he continues to make an impact like he has been of late, this is a player that should slide into a middle six role in the NHL and potentially be someone the Montreal Canadiens can rely on in that role for a very long time. Another player that certainly turned some heads for the Montreal Canadiens during this tournament was Lane Hudson. There's already been a lot of chatter around him as a player and whether or not he's big enough to be able to be an NHL defenseman one day. If you looked at how he looked compared to some of the other sizable players in this tournament, he's actually clearly filled out his frame a little bit more than we saw when he was drafted. And that's obviously a positive thing in terms of where he's going to slot in the future with this Habs team. His skill was just so evident from game one of this tournament, and he likely deserved a bigger role than he got with Team USA in this event. He still was able to put up some points, show his smooth skating stride, his ability to move the puck very well, and just make creative decisions with the puck as well. This is just a really strong player and one that made a very positive impact on me, and I know a lot of other Habs fans as well during this event. He's someone that you're going to continue to watch in the collegiate season as well. But this is just a player that has to continue to hit the weight room, get stronger. But one thing that was just really noticeable to me was that he just didn't seem out of place defensively. And that was a big thing that people were looking forward to watching for him during this tournament. If he can continue to be really smart positionally, be able to just use the puck the way he's capable of in the defensive zone, not make stupid mistakes, and just really be that defenseman that doesn't have to take a lot of risk but is still creative in a way that he can make offense out of nothing. That's the player that they drafted in this slot, and it appears that that's going to be a steal from what we've seen from him already. But Hudson is someone that's still going to take some development along the way, and he's going to need to continue to fill out that frame like I just mentioned. But there's positive steps, and we saw some of those during this tournament. Other prospects that were at this tournament for the Montreal Canadiens were Adam Engstrom and Vincent Rohr for Austria. It's hard to really judge what Rohr did with Austria because there's just not really a lot of talent around him, but he did show flashes of skill, which is exactly what you'd be expecting from him in a tournament like this. But in terms of Engstrom, he played a big role for Team Sweden on that top pairing, and you can see that he has some offensive tools that should be able to translate to the NHL level, along with a very strong defensive capability as well. So I think there's some positive to his game, and I think he might be the most underrated prospect right now in the Montreal Canadiens system. I know there were some times during the draft when people wondered why they selected him where they did, but it's kind of reminding me of the Alexander Romanov selection as well a while back. you kind of wondered why they took him where they did, and you're starting to see now exactly why they did what they did, and he's starting to turn the corner in his development path as a young 18-year-old. So I do believe that this is the type of player that can make a difference down the line in the Montreal Canadiens on their back end. I'm not sure what his ceiling will be on this team, but there's no doubt that he has the potential to be an NHL defenseman down the line. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the Montreal Canadiens prospects at the World Juniors, and if you think some of them made strides towards being a part of the Montreal Canadiens in the future. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.